Alright, draft physics video. So, a couple of obnoxious, lazy thinkers and fascist propagandists for, a flawed convention. Nothing more than a religious theory. And they'll slander you if you dare attack their god. Yeah. Pretty much.
On the video explaining the insane reasoning skills of it, Mr. Inmendum.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry. It's you who can't reason properly, and you can't listen. It's clear.
Right. Explain. Oh, right, yeah. I woke up this morning thinking, oh, I should have mentioned that his particular theory of everything ends up with the experimental prediction that light is as measured will be measured relatively. Yeah? That if you go.
So he's telling me what my claims of my predictions are, which first is kind of bogus, or what even the consequences are. What I'm saying. See, physics tries to say that it's saying light is a constant, but it doesn't make light a constant. It decides that it creates these relative frames where somehow you can be moving the speed of light that way, and somehow you can shine a flashlight that way. No, you can't. The flashlight goes that way. Yeah, the beam, the light, can't possibly possess your momentum. Light only has momentum in the dimension that it's traveling, whichever way it's going, and that's it. And it has a constant speed in that direction, and there is no frame that can change that fact.
Faster towards a piece of light, you'll be able to measure its speed as.
You can't measure light. You have to interact with light. Remember the old catch-22? You have to interact with it. You can't see the photon, okay, coming at you, idiot.
Your velocity plus its velocity.
Yes, the two things. If two things are moving towards each other, both things are moving towards each other, let's say, two objects, all right, they'll encounter each other twice as soon as if they weren't moving towards each other. But the light between them will be moving the speed of light. The distance they're separated by will change, but the speed of light will not change. They'll just see each other faster because they're moving towards each other. You see, if I'm in New Jersey and I want to see a train that just left California, I got a lot better chance of seeing it if I go to the Mississippi River. Get it? Because I cut the distance in half. Idiot.
That's intrinsic feature of Inmendum.
Liar. So whatever you're implying, it's a lie. There's no intrinsic feature. There's an absolute statement. The speed of light is constant in all frames. There's no such thing as a frame difference for light. It doesn't give a fuck about any fucking frame.
Model. Particular model. Because he claims that empty space is an absolute reference frame.
Where did I do that? Sorry, I'm just saying I'm claiming that light is the absolute reference frame. That photons always travel a certain amount of distance in a certain amount of time, always, and they never do anything different. You'll never see them do anything different. You'll never measure them doing anything different, ever.
And that leads to relative velocity measurements, even with the speed of...
Again, so it doesn't really matter what you're saying. It doesn't lead to any of that shit. What your theory leads to is the preposterous notion that I could actually see you die in a war and then watch you be born. That's what your idiotic theory leads to. A paradox that makes absolutely no fucking sense, is ludicrous on its face. My theory doesn't do that. Idiot.
Right, so he's again opposing claimed measurements, and he won't cite, he can just make his videos and say, oh, that was never done, and that's never been done. You know, that we've not done numerous I can't cite them.
Okay, you can't cite them, so there you go. So you claim here, explaining faulty reasoning to amend them about experiments that never happened. So again, I have to believe you even though you have no evidence for your theory. You've never traveled the speed of light. You've never shined a light across your spaceship. While you're going the speed of light, you've never shined a flashlight across your spaceship and watched the light go straight across, have you, asshole? No, you've never done that. You've never been traveling the speed of light and then pointed your flashlight forward and watched the light go forward. Have you, asshole? No, you haven't, you fucking cunt, because it'll never happen, because it can't fucking happen. It's ludicrous crap.
But
your matter won't even exist. Why don't when nuclear bombs go off, why don't they fly a bunch of matter at us at the speed of light? Right? Tremendous amount of energy. There's lots of little molecules and atoms right next to the bomb when it goes off. Why aren't they traveling the speed of light when they leave the nuclear ground zero? Oh, that's right, because they melt long before. That's right, they'll never reach the speed of light because they fall the fuck apart.
People cite the old Michelson-Morley one, but an implication
that's an ether experiment. Doesn't have a motherfucking thing to do with any of this conversation, and especially doesn't have anything to do with that outhouse of an experiment. It was basically done with an outhouse. 3 outhouses.
It's been tested more accurately.
And again, what has been tested? There has been no evidence that light changes its speed. So what's the argument, jackass?
Oh, but it's Einstein's and Lorenz's theory.
And moreover, it fits my theory. Where's your evidence that you have a frame somewhere where light doesn't move as fast? Where you can shine flashlights while you're moving and the light will go straight across like you're not moving? What, like you didn't just move the target right away? Go ahead, show me. Take a flashlight and move at the speed of light and then shine light ahead of you. Let me see you do it, fucker. Let me see Michelson and Morley do that one, asswipe. Douche fucking lying cunt.
But Inman can sit up there and make his videos like, that's not been done. That's not been done.
Well, that's a significant fact when you make all these bold claims. You're making these bold claims that I have a frame where time is a different dimensional thing and it's not the same. And it's not because the clocks are broken, that is, they're not telling time accurately anymore. No, that's not the reason. It's because somehow the frame is different. That light's moving differently. No, it isn't. The clocks are broken. Period. Newsflash. Nothing to see here.
That's never happened. That isn't happening. Yeah? Without going to the details, to find somebody who's made an experiment and pull...
There's no way to make the experiment. We can't move matter anywhere near the speed of light to test any of this crap. But I'm just saying that's one of the pieces of evidence. Right now, there isn't stuff from space, from supernovas. Even supernovas can't hurl matter at us at the speed of light or anything close to it. The matter disintegrates and it turns into little tiny little particles. And those are the only things that can go anywhere near the speed of light. But none of them are going the speed of light. Isn't the fact that there's never been a piece of matter, I'm talking about matter now, something fundamentally nuclear, you know, not a quark or something, not a muon. I'm talking about a real, well, muons even, they don't go the speed of light. They don't. It's a fact.
The experimental thesis apart. No, this is just lay.
Yeah, you're just a religious kook, okay, and that's it. You're just like a Catholic defending the sacredness of the Pope or something. You have nothing to justify your claims. You won't provide evidence. You don't provide any evidence, not even a single link to anything relevant on this subject. All right, so where's your evidence?
Metaphoric physics.
Yeah, metaphors are what Einstein used, and he made them real things. I'm using metaphors as examples. I'm not saying atoms are dancing. I'm just explaining how atoms have a metabolism, and if you force them to do something else, you'll fuck up their metabolism. Gee, what a bold fucking thing to say. How motherfucking outrageous. Einstein turned a stupid metaphor into a fact, you jackass. Bending nothing, okay, and forcing things to obey the bent nothing. Fuck you.
That is attacking in a concrete manner, or at least trying.
I'm not even giving a fuck about attacking in a concrete manner any more than just pointing out how this is the weakest cunt evidence, all right, for these bold motherfucking claims. You're claiming photons split in half. You're claiming they don't have any position. You're claiming all of this motherfucking cunt bullshit. You're claiming it's a wave that doesn't spread or go anywhere. It just stays in a little tiny spot and it sends out radar or something. Some sort of fucking goddamn Huygens ESP or something. You have this preposterously fucking convoluted and complex description of fucking reality, and then you have absolutely no goddamn fucking evidence. And then you sit there and point your fucking goddamn lying, slandering cunt finger at me, you cunt. Point it at Piro. Point it at every motherfucking video explaining two-slit math. Why don't you show me the motherfucking video on the internet that does the two-slit math accurately? Why don't you show me that, fucker, instead of talking this shit? Like I'm the bullshitter. No, they're the bullshitters. Fucker. You lying fat piece of fucking shit.
He rises to my challenge about the criticism that his prediction won't follow the Lorentz prediction.
I don't even know if it will. Do I know how exactly? What evidence do we have to apply Lorentz? Exactly. Where do we have hard evidence? There is none. How exactly matter deteriorates, okay, is a complex question. That's like saying how big does the hole in a tire have to be before enough air leaves for you to get a flat tire or something. Yeah, it might be some kind of loopy curve. Who the fuck knows? Who the fuck can calculate that ahead of time? That's like saying, well, how's it going to affect atomic clock that's like, say, uranium or newtonium or some other element? You don't think that each one of the elements would probably be affected a little bit different by different velocities? This isn't going to be some sort of stupid goddamn, oh, here's the perfect example of exactly how every single element falls apart. Every single element's going to degrade specific to its own integrity. That's that's why we use fucking goddamn radioactive elements in nuclear power plants, is because they're already degrading.
But he fails to produce a calculation that shows that his prediction follows the Lorentz. He just pulls up.
Why do I have to follow the Lorentz? It's a fucking Frankenstein monster applied to Maxwell's equations. So what exactly is its applicability? We're talking about moving things, okay, that are applying force. And obviously it's hard enough to mathematically accurately, okay, do even the force equations when they're not moving, for fuck's sake.
Of the other and says the reason for the discrepancy is because of an assumption about inertia and about the resistance to force. Now,
no. About the resistance to force? When did I talk about any fucking resistance to force? I talked about the fact that the force has to be able to hit the parts that matter, okay, in the matter, to be able to push matter. And so I used the accelerator argument, for fuck's sake.
The increase in inertia, the increase in mass, as described by Einstein, is just one facet of special relativity. There's also Lorentz contraction of length and Lorentz time dilation.
Yeah, both of which are your speculation, okay? I mean, you can come up, they're just constructs to describe the fact that something's happening, let's see how to say it, that there's a proportional effect, okay, based on what you're causing by creating the velocity. And I'm arguing that that takes place. But I'm saying there's no way to know whether things actually get longer. The point is there's more energy in this dimension than there is in these dimensions. And that's the important fact. Whether it actually gets longer is kind of irrelevant. The only thing that really matters is that it loses its identity in the other two dimensions. Fuckhead.
Now, I made in Mendon, especially for him, really, a video to be especially for him because he was claiming that the mathematics made no sense and was so deep and esoteric when it's nothing beyond high school.
Well, whatever you say, it's nothing but beyond high school. In its applicability, that's a pile of shit. So again, why do I give a fuck? I don't care, Hythloday. Do you understand that? I couldn't give a rat's ass about Lorentz. I could almost not give a rat's ass about Maxwell because, frankly, these are all ether kooks in the first place. But at least Maxwell's equations are basically just Newton's equations, which are basically just confirming that magnetism works the same way as gravity in the sense that it's a straight line force that's radiating and diverging exactly like light and like gravity. Asshole.
Mathematics. I made a special video on special relativity to explain, and there is no assumption in Lorentz contraction or Lorentz time dilation about inertia.
Well, it doesn't really make a difference because it's all related. You can't possibly talk about well, you can. But time dilation is critical to what's happening to the matter. So again, your assumption that things can travel, two trains in some sort of thought experiment can be both traveling the speed of light in opposite directions and then start shooting light back and forth at each other. The whole fucking contention that that's even possible, that you could actually move a flashlight the speed of light and then try to turn it on. None of that could ever fucking happen. That's what's wrong with your physics, you idiot. And why should I acknowledge the existence of that nonsense when it's just basically your Holy Ghost problem? It's not my fucking problem. I don't have to explain any of that shit. Because none of it can happen.
The theory comes from geometric assumptions. So
yeah, right. So yes, you put qualities, okay, like velocity and other things into squares, and then you manipulate those squares in like algebra. But those are just proportions put into a geometric model. How do you have any evidence that that's the truth? That the reality is going to be modeled by that geometry? You have no evidence of it. And again, this just leads to the same fucking bullshit that created black holes. This idiotic idea that once I create this converging space, I can make the well as deep as I want. There's somehow no rule. I can go as deep as I want. I can make matter so dense that it's denser than the entire universe. I can make a grapefruit that weighs as much as the universe. Well, you can't.
Your answer to the criticism is a complete failure. And I push it more forcefully and say, demonstrate your theory yields the Lorentz function.
Why do I have to? Again, where has the Lorentz function, where has it been demonstrated to be factually relevant to anything beyond relevant in the sense that I think Maxwell's equations already take care of the idea of induction. And it's induction that's creating the curves. There would be all straight lines if it wasn't for the fact that it takes time for force to move from one place to another. And that's what Maxwell established. And instead of saying light travels the speed of force, they decide to say force is traveling the speed of light, right? So don't you think that that physics would have a completely different attitude if we talked about the speed of force instead of the speed of light? If we actually said light moves the same speed as force, gravity and magnetism, wouldn't that make people start thinking about light a little bit different? And that maybe light's not something magical, it's a fucking force for fucking sake?
That's what you have to do. That's the obligation.
Yeah, well, I think I've satisfied the obligation. I think every day physics is acknowledging the obligation, because every day they find more and more places they'd like to put virtual photons. The graviton, virtual photon. The magneton, virtual photon. And now they even have them in the relationship between the protons and the neutrons. They have virtual photons doing their work. So again, I think I'm already being demonstrated to be correct.
To show that your theory doesn't yield linear, a linear function.
Well, again, it's not linear. That's why it doesn't yield a linear function, because it's more complicated than that. Everything's a light bulb. Okay, all the forces and all the movement inside of everything is not linear. It's not in one dimension going one way. The little bits are, but the matter itself isn't. It's a big ball of fucking all kinds of directionality. That's the whole fucking point. The whole reason you can see me is because I have stuff moving in all dimensions, not one.
Now then, on to some general criticisms about all this mass is dimension in direction, blah 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 blah. Right? But mass is mass in a direction. Your theory has no conception of mass as what?
Yeah, well, it has no conception of mass the way you want it to be. It has a perfect conception of mass. It's saying basically there's this thing called a ton, a graviton, a magneton, a photon. It has mass in one dimension, going one way in a straight line. Now that way can be in this way or that way or this way or that way. And that's exactly the point. When you put a collection of them going in the three different dimensions, and they're you know, basically they're going in all kinds of angles, and you create a sphere that way. Yes, it has mass coming in all directions. That's why it has mass, a measurable mass, is because it's not moving the speed of light in one direction. No, it's got bits moving in every direction.
Current physics holds. The notion of...
Yes, exactly. I don't know how you missed this point, but I'm basically saying the entire foundation of current physics is bullshit. Light isn't a fucking goddamn wave, and space isn't fucking goddamn bent, and time isn't a fucking goddamn dimension. Now, I've made that as fucking goddamn clear as I can fucking goddamn make it. So yeah, that's right. I'm not going to sit there and incorporate your Holy Ghost into my theory, because it doesn't fucking exist, retard. I don't need a Holy Ghost in evolution theory, right? Evolution works just fine without any fucking Holy Ghost in it. Jackass.
Mass, in your theory, is not the same as current theory. So you can't...
Yeah, that's right. It's not anything like mass in current theory, in the sense that on the quantum level. It's exactly the same on all the other levels. Asshole. But yeah, I understand that electrons don't have mass the same way photons have mass. And they don't have mass the same way an atom has mass.
Use it like you do. All you can say is that there's a collection of quanta versus a distribution of quanta.
Versus a distribution? What are you talking about? A collection versus a distribution? What the fuck does that mean?
Now, I've also criticised in the past, you make no attempt to explain how and why an electron will form of that particular quanta.
Why would I care to? Well, where has physics explained how quarks are made? Where have they have explained nothing about the origins of the subatomic particle. So this is just such a crock of shit. But what I have explained is that the pressure that holds the electron together, that is the field pressure, is defining the size of the electron. Okay, so if you think about the pressure, if the electron gets bigger, the pieces fall off because there's not enough external pressure holding it together. And if it gets too small, then it gets beaten to shit by the pressure. So yes, there's just the right size that keeps the electron completely balanced with the external world. That's right, and the proton has exactly the same effect. and both of them are inversely proportional to each other in the sense that the electrons are deciding the pressure on the protons, and the amount of red energy, let's call it red quanta, stored in protons is deciding how much is free in the environment, and how much is free in the environment is deciding how much pressure there is holding the electrons together, jackass.
In standard physics realm of that particular mass. In your theory, there's the prediction that electrons will be all kinds of mass. Quantum.
No, where did I say it? Where did I ever say that? I've said constantly the only thing they're going to do is change their shape, so they're always at a constant pressure. All I can do, you idiot, you fucking cunt, you lying bastard, all I can do is change what color they are. I can't change the number, I can just change what color is affecting something, so I can organize the force in a different arrangement, okay, and depending on what color hits it makes the difference between it accelerating, okay, and it just moving its position or rebounding. So it just the two colors have a different effect. If a blue goes in, okay, the blue goes out perpendicularly, so you change a green, say a green's coming in this, well, I've got the blue in my hand. A blue's coming in this way, and a green is coming in this way. The two of them will intersect in here technically. Alright, and what's going to happen is the blue is going to be going a new way, and the green is going to be going a new way. Alright, and that's the change in the universe. And now, the pattern that would have been here would have been, say, blue arrow, blue arrow, blue arrow, and now the pattern's going to be blue arrow, green arrow, blue arrow. That's what's changing. So it's exactly, I've said this in at least 3 of the videos I've made, at least 3, maybe 4. Right now, surrounding me is exactly as much energy as in the middle of a nuclear bomb. On ground zero, when a nuclear bomb goes off, there's exactly the same amount of quantum moving the speed of light. The only difference when a nuclear bomb goes off is that it's all in patterns. It's in this polarized form. Okay, so instead of it just being random arrows going in directions, you know, it's random, but now it's polarized. So the arrows have distinct patterns, and it's the patterns that matter can't tolerate. The electrons and the protons are ripped to pieces when pattern hits them. You cunt.
The content. Because in your theory, they lose quantum as they go faster.
There, and I never said that. I've always said they replace something going this way with they take away the thing going this way to go this way. So they add more in this dimension by taking away ones that are going in the other dimensions. Never did I say that it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Never did I say that it just eats new fish. I've never used it in my metaphor. So again, just lie some more, you fucking weasel.
Which I'll illustrate.
Right, so to illustrate quantum physics, so this is like Feynman talking about raindrops. We're talking about physics. So this thing he's holding up right here has a gazillion, zillion, zillion, zillion interactions taking place in it right now. And they're all happening at the speed of light. And so look at the dimensions of this thing. It's like a foot across, let's say. So you're talking about 1 foot compared to 160,000, no, 3 million meters. These are the kind of comparisons we're going to make. So in a time scale, in the time it takes, so in the frames, in just this little minute of time, for the little bits interacting there, billions of interactions are taking place in just 1 second. 1 second. Billions of interactions.
Here we have a wheel turning on a car. The car is moving at 60 miles per hour. No, 30 miles per hour, sorry. Not that it matters.
Well, it technically does matter, but whatever.
It's moving 30 miles an hour. It's a classic puzzle, and I've talked about this before. To say, what
This is, in my opinion, this is a retarded explanation.
is the speed of the part which is contacting the floor?
Well, obviously, the speed of the part that contacts the floor is always the same. What changes is its vector, just as the orbit of the Earth is always the same. By your idiotic notion, somehow the Earth is changing its speed as it goes from place to place. It never changes its velocity. Okay, it's always the same velocity. It's the vector that's changed. So what's your point?
You come across the puzzle before? You know the answer?
What answer? You say you're going to have an answer to the what? The non-question? Because it's an idiotic question. I mean, clearly this bit, when it's going this way, is going a constant speed, and it's going a constant speed this way. And then it's in a relative frame in the sense that, well, then you calculate how fast this part's moving this way, and you have to add and then subtract those to figure out what each bit was doing at any particular time. But it's constantly changing speed, just as the Earth is constantly changing its at this precise second speed, but its overall speed is obviously consistent.
Or perhaps, what is the speed of the uppermost part of the tire?
Again, the uppermost part of the tire you just threw down to the bottommost part of the tire.
And the car is travelling 30 miles an hour. The answer is, what we're saying is, the car, the attachment at the hub, the centre is travelling 30 miles an hour. All other velocities must average to 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, we understand that. But again, that doesn't really have anything to do with the actual truthful fact, okay, that as this thing is rotating, okay, it's rotating on this axis, and over time this axis will move in a direction. So clearly, over time, there has to be more elements going this way than ever go this way, or it would never get there.
Well, and since we're not in a skid, the point of contact is stationary, 0 miles an hour. The top is 60 miles an hour, the average being 30 miles an hour. This conception in Mendham of velocity as having arrows in a certain amount of direction, so many in this direction, so many in the other direction, is a complete nonsense.
Well, okay, so that's your claim, all right? So you don't really want to pay any attention to the real claim, which is if I put a row of magnets together and I tie them together with a force, and if I move one of the magnets in that force, then these other magnets are going to feel the force. The force is going to change. And that's going to all change in the sense that they'll all end up moving eventually into these new positions. But it takes time because it has to be done through all these movements. And all these bits are moving. So again, you're the one who doesn't account for any of the force as being actual photons moving in a direction. So what I'm arguing is whether you make it fish or whether you make it magnets, whatever you make it, the truth of the matter is that if this goes from here to over here, those bits inside of that thing, over the period of time that you moved it, there's going to have to be more quanta going the direction you moved it than the direction in the opposite direction. And that's just a fact. But it's happening, again, it's physics, you cunt. There's billions and trillions of interactions happening every fucking frame of this video inside of that thing, balancing these equations.
Because you can't consider the moving wheel as somehow losing some arrows that are going this way. Yeah? That if I could put in another arrow.
Well, that's exactly what happens, okay? Things do lose arrows. That's exactly the point. They exchange them. So if I can say lose, they give up a blue one, okay, and keep a green one, and then the green and the blue exchange through protons, and then they give up a blue one, and then and in the end it all comes back to roost. But that's exactly how it works. They're constantly exchanging different patterns, and to make us, in the end result is going to be, in the end, there's going to be force that had to be applied, a certain kind of extra amount of a green versus blue, and then and for the thing to move means it's going to have to release the extra blue that it took. So it took some extra blue going this way, it's going to release that the extra green somewhere.
Going the other way, it's slowed down. Yeah? Every arrow, every component gets to average that speed and has to average that speed.
Well, it's okay. Component. So what you don't play physics fair. Every component means every quanta inside of that thing. The million of them inside every electron. Maybe the billion of them inside of every proton. So when you quantize this energy equation, okay, your movement doesn't mean a damn thing. It's like it doesn't even happen. It's happening so slow compared to all the interactions that are taking place inside the atomic structure.
Has to complete a rotation. Otherwise, like Mendham says, in his theory, to consider it that way, all movement results in loss of structure. Thus, whenever you move, you're just emanating existence out into reality.
Well, again, that's not my theory, okay? My theory is that it's all about your polarization, and it's about maintaining that. So as long as the electrons have to maintain being made of all the blues, the proton has to stay all red, and they have to stay in an interaction or a balance of distance between each other for them to be held together as atoms. Once they get separated by a certain amount of distance, then the electron's not going back to the photon. I mean, the proton.
And everything, and you could test that. You could send a mass on a long trip, and it would weigh less at the end, just because, some...
Okay, so again, that's your theory. That's nothing to do with any of my theories. There's nothing in my theory that say anything weighs less. Never did I say things get fatter or thinner or more heavy and then lighter. Show me the video where he ever said that.
Highly inert mass, unreactive stainless steel, high-grade stainless steel, it should come back weighing less. And in Mendham...
Who says? Again, you say. I never said that. So again, more lies? Yeah, more lying. Thank you, you fucking cunt liar.
Ought to be able to make a prediction for how much it will come back weighing less.
Why, again, it's not my prediction. It's not my theory. I don't think anything loses mass by gaining velocity. What I said is it loses mass in dimensions, you retard. Do I have to draw it again? Okay, I mean, as it moves faster in one direction, that means it gains more quanta in that direction. And then means it had to eject quanta going in the other perpendicular dimensions. That's why electrons emit EMF when they accelerate. Because when they're accelerating, they're adding arrows in the direction of their acceleration, so they're losing arrows in the non-directions of the acceleration. And likewise, when they decelerate, they're giving them back in the direction of their velocity, in the direction of their velocity, and they'll be gaining them in these other dimensions. Asshole! Never did I say electrons get smaller or protons get smaller. Never. Asshole! Lying fucking asshole!
I think you tried to answer this by saying, but each one's replaced. Well, if it's replaced, then you've not really said anything.
Yeah, I have said it. I said it from the very fucking beginning, and I'm just going to draw it one more fucking time, you lying fucking cunt. Alright? Because I've only done it so many fucking goddamn times, and it's goddamn so fucking goddamn obvious, alright, that this is two different, this is change. It's exactly the same amount of quanta. One goes in, one goes out. One goes in, one goes out. Exactly the same number. Except the blue one isn't going straight anymore, and the green one isn't going straight anymore. They're going perpendicular. They're changed the fucking pattern of the universe here. This pattern that was blue, 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 let's say, is now blue, green, blue. And that's the fucking significant factor, shithead. And I've only been drawing that shit for over a year now, fuckhead. maybe 2 fucking years I've been drawing that fucking X, you fucking cunt. You liar.
Yeah. There are no real. It's replaced what? With an arrow replaced like. Or is...
Yeah, polarized. How many times have I said polarization in my videos? Polarization, 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 over and 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 over. And you lying cunt will play this game. You disgusting fucking pig.
It's replaced, so it's not really lost. It's not losing structure. They either lose through velocity or they don't.
Yeah, well, says you. Again, it's not my theory. Nothing gets lost. I've said so many times before, we're not really quantum moving somewhere. We're just a pattern of polarization. That's all we are. We're just a pattern of polarization. And we get moved because things come into us, exchange polarization, and the polarization pattern moves. But the actual quanta are always moving exactly the same amount. Again, there's as much energy moving through me right now as ground zero in a nuclear explosion. Exactly the same number of fucking quanta are going through me. And what matters is matter likes random quanta. It really hates patterned quanta. So when you pattern it, it destroys the protons and the electrons, it destroys the atomic structure, and I disintegrate. Okay? No pattern, and I keep my form. That's how it works.
Like I said, I don't know whether you'll deal with it. I'm only dealing with the first points of this video here. I'll probably make a second video if he makes any more substantive points. So yeah.
No, there's just no point. I mean, you can't make fair. You can never be fucking fair, and it's disgusting. Okay, I mean, until you start making videos pointing out how Piro's a fucking cunt liar. He keeps talking about mathematics and this. What formulas has he done? What math has he done for the 2-slit experiment? Where has he done anything to demonstrate it? Nowhere. And you keep giving him miles and miles. He can say all kinds of wacky shit, and you don't play this goddamn game. So why don't you make videos playing this I gotcha bullshit with him, you stupid cunt?
Your assumption has nothing to do with Lorentz transformations.
You're the one who brought it up. I was just sitting there. Look, if you don't think the subjects of time dilation and the acceleration of subatomic particles are related, okay, fine. I'm just saying that, yeah, okay, sorry. If there's no math, if there's no Lorentz component for the mass of the object producing a force, fine. But I'm just saying that that's really the key here, right? We're talking about moving objects emitting photons. That's the catch. And I'd say it's an important catch because guess what? You can't move matter. The matter is not going to emit fucking photons because it's not going to be in the structure to do it. It's going to be photons if it's moving the speed of light.
Your assumptions deny the constancy of speed of light as measured.
Liar. So again, as measured doesn't even mean anything. How do you measure a photon, for fuck's sake? There's no way to measure a photon except to have it hit something. So it leaves someplace and it goes someplace, and I'm saying that if you measure that correctly, it'll always be the same speed. There's no way it can't be. Always. The amount of distance traveled in what we call, let's see, let's come up with another way we can say time. Time is, well, it really doesn't matter. Because as I'm pointing out, it's a fake thought experiment. Matter can't travel. So we can use anything to define time. So let's just define time as the amount of time it takes for a quanta to go from one side of an electron to the other side of an electron. And we can just make that a click. And there, we're done. By that clock, it'll never change.
Good. I know you have your idea of constancy, but that isn't the physics claim of measurement. Light will always be measured as a constant.
Well, again, you can keep saying it, but go ahead. Take your measurements and get out into space and then go in a ship and tell me how you can measure the speed of fucking light when you're traveling the speed of light. Go ahead. Let me see you do it, asshole. Because you can't, and you never will.
Because there is no absolute frame of reference. You say there is an absolute frame of reference in space, and therefore you get additive velocities.
There's no additive velocity. There's only a change in the when you will arrive at the station. If the two trains, if one train's traveling from the East Coast and one train's traveling from the West Coast and they're heading towards each other, the two trains will meet each other in half the amount of time. Right? That if one of them stayed where it was. It'll take twice as long for the two trains to hit each other if one stays where it was. If both of them are moving, then they'll both see each other, both crash into each other, whatever you want to say, in half the amount of time. Duh. But it has nothing to do with the speed of light changing. The trains don't move a faster speed. Nothing changes. The only difference is that, yes, if two things are heading for each other, the event of their collision is going to happen sooner. Duh!
Go on, tell us how it isn't happened, it isn't true, blah blah blah.
Well, go ahead, draw me a picture of it. Draw me the picture that shows how the speed of light is necessarily faster somehow because I have two sources emitting light. So I emit light from one source and I emit light from another source over here. And somehow you're telling me because I head them towards each other, I'm breaking the rules of time if I say this one's going the speed of light and this one's going the speed of light, and the two of them will intersect here in 1/2 the amount of time as if one of them stayed home. So if this only has to go to here to hit the other piece of light, and this one had to go all the way over here, I'm saying that's half the amount of time. That's what I'm saying, asshole. Why don't you draw me a picture and show me how I'm fucking goddamn wrong, you stupid fucking cunt. Because you can't. And again, it's your theory that comes up with preposterous ideas like I can see somebody die before they're born.
You know, ignore all the particles that exist at different masses, and you have no explanation.
I have no reason to have to. I'm not ignoring them. What I'm saying to you is guess what? You know, the particles that only last 1/1,000,000th of a second, they're probably not too relevant to the function of an atom.
As for why they just suddenly come together and hold, and how they disperse.
I have explained that. Okay, it's called these interactions. They happen all the time inside of every single material thing. Every electron, everything is being bombarded by field energy every second. It's tons and tons of it coming through it, and if there's more of a certain kind coming through it, then it will change what's going out of it and what it holds on to, and it will move based on that fact. So if there's more blue arrows coming at it and it's blue sensitive, it's going to gain acceleration temporarily, okay, and move in that direction.
Velocities, and then maybe come back together, I don't know.
So whatever. So yeah, you just don't pay any attention, and then you do this shallow critiquing. You know, you're just a despicable fucking cunt to waste my time like this on stuff that I have gone over and over and over again. You know, to sit there and lie that there's any paradox created by the idea of light having a constant speed, and there just isn't. The paradoxes are created by your stupid frames, your stupid idiotic notion that somehow because I'm moving, I own light, and now my light is going different speed than your light. No, my clock is going a different speed. The light's going exactly the same speed. My clock just can't tell time. Idiot. Alright. It's probably enough. I was going to add the Puro stuff, but I'll do that in a separate video. Sorry, sorry about the hostility, but I'm getting no feedback except from assholes. And it's just it's so fucking irritating for these assholes to call me the pseudoscientist, and they have nothing. They bring nothing to the table, okay, except these cheap mischaracterizations, inaccurate paraphrases, innuendos, and just outright fucking lies. Fuck you.